welcome to
The Dark Files. I'm Emily Sweaters.
And I'm Kasie Cardigan. And we are here in 2021. We've made it.
We made it!
12 days
so
far of 2021. I think today's the 12th. And shit is already hitting the fan.
Today's the 13th.
The 13th.
Yeah.
Okay, we made it 13 days. Well, hopefully we make it through the rest of the night. I have to go to Aldi's and I'm excited.
I get so stressed out at Aldi.
Okay, I think my roommates are playing a joke with me, but when you go to Aldi, do you have to bring a bag?
Yes.
Do you have to?
Yes.
Like they won't give you groceries?
I mean, they will, but you have no way to get it to your car. I have some if you want to take some.
But they won't give you a bag? Like you can't
buy
pay for it? Okay. Well, that's fine.
You have to
I have a backpack.
Do you have a quarter?
Wait, I think I do have a quarter.
You have to have a quarter for
the cart. But do you think my backpack will count? Will they let me go in with a backpack?
I don't know.
But what if I wanted to walk?
Yeah, you could try it.
I'm trying to save the planet.
I have several bags.
I think I have one in this backpack.
Gotcha.
But then I also have a backpack.
I think Aldi's like a cult.
Okay. I love that you said cult because guess what we're talking about today?
Which cult?
We're talking about a cult.
Which cult?
Great segue. That wasn't even planned.
Well, Aldi is a cult.
Okay, but is it though?
Yes. I've only been there once, and it was the most traumatizing experience.
So you obviously have the most experience with it.
I've never been before, so I go in, and you know when you get to the checkout, there's like this weird cart code?
No.
Like, okay, so...
Oh, wait. Who was I just talking about? Was I just talking about this with you?
I don't know, maybe. But you're supposed to leave your cart for the person behind you, and you take the person in front of you's cart. Well, I didn't know that, and the little checkout boy got real sassy with me.
It was you. You were telling me this. This might have been on our last episode. I don't know.
They like scan everything so quickly, and they're so aggressive. So, but they do have a pineapple wine that I want to try. That's like $1.99.
Maybe I'll buy it. Sorry, I'm texting my friend who broke her foot doing the WAP dance. So I was texting her. She has her surgery. I know. I'm going to. I think I'm going to try Aldi. I've been to Aldi before. And I knew the thing about the bags because when I was in Ireland, I went to Aldi.
Oh, they have Aldi's in Ireland.
Yeah. And I think it's like a German thing. And then whatever. I don't know though. Don't quote me on that. And then I ended up buying a bunch of like shampoo and stuff. Didn't realize the whole bag thing. So then I had to walk from Aldi to my house like with my hands full.
Yeah.
Because I refused to spend money on a bag. But I didn't know if it was different.
No, it's the same way. It's a cult around the world.
Anyway, we're getting into a cult today.
Oh my God, what cult?
Hopefully we're not getting into a cult. Okay, Emily, this is a side note though. I have said this before.
Mm-hmm.
I have always been a little nervous that I would be so gullible to follow a cult. But I think I'm getting less gullible the older I am.
Yeah.
Because I'm just training myself to be like tough. But I'm a little nervous. I don't think I'd be in this cult though.
Yeah. I got somebody approached me about a cult at the Bellevue Kroger.
Asking you to like join their cult?
So, it was, I was like I just finished shopping. I was loading my car up to like go home. And this woman like approaches me and she's like, "Hi, is this a good place to shop?" I was like, "Yeah, it's a Kroger." Like, what do you mean is this a good place to shop? And she's like, "Do they usually have everything you need?" I'm like, "I mean, yeah."
And then she's like, I have what you're looking for.
She was like, "Well, I'm new from around here, so I've just wondered if this is a good place to shop." But I'm like, "Yeah, it's fine, whatever." And then she goes, "Well, I have a Bible study that meets at the Newport Panera every Sunday. Do you want to join?" I was like, "Not my thing, sis. Pick somebody else."
You picked the wrong person.
So around this time, there was a bunch of like rumors going around on social media that people were like trying to like like con people into human trafficking by like doing this at the grocery store, like at Walmart's and like Targets and stuff. So I called Kroger and I was like, "Just to let you know, this woman approached me in the parking lot." And the woman who answered the phone was so funny. She was like, "Oh my God, I seen that on Facebook. That's human trafficking." So then I'm part of, I listen to My Favorite Murder, and there's a Cincinnati Murderinos like Facebook group.
Oh, that's cool.
And they post a lot of that kind of stuff in there. Like not just about like true crime, but like staying safe and things.
Yeah.
So I told them what happened, and I'm like, "Is this like human trafficking?" And multiple people said it's not human trafficking. It's like this weird cultish like church that recruits young women that like look to be alone and like whatever by like approaching them in public and like
asking them if they want to join a Bible study.
Yeah. So I said no.
Good.
Thank you.
I guess. I mean, if it's a cult, I'm glad you're not in a cult.
Yeah, me too. I'd be a terrible cult member.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, you would end up working your way to the leader.
Yep.
Somehow.
Or they'd like kill me.
Or
I'd make fun of everybody and
well, I think if you're at the point where you're joining a cult, that's not really a thing
true.
anymore.
Yeah.
All right, so
which cult is it?
Okay, so let me rewind.
Okay.
To how I found this cult. Well, actually, now I'm thinking about it. I don't really remember how I found it, but I remember I was like looking at things to talk about, whatever, and then I was trying to find this cult where my friend was telling me about it. And it was like they were trapped or handcuffed or something in a basement or somewhere, and then they all had bowl cuts, like the haircuts, and something like recently. And I'm typing that in, and nothing's showing up.
Is it the family?
I don't remember. Like my friend didn't remember either. And so I'm like trying to type it in, but I had no context what it was going on.
Yeah.
So then I was like, maybe I'm like typing obscure cults that nobody talks about. And then I found this cult that people do talk about, but it's not like, it's not like the Heaven's Gate or the Jonestown. So it's not one of like the big.
Yeah.
What did they call them on last podcast? The
heavy hitters.
The heavy hitters.
Yeah.
So it's a little different.
Okay, what is it?
Okay, it is called the Anthill Kids.
Last podcast just did that.
Did they?
Yes.
I feel like we're always on the same. Okay, well, so then theirs is probably way more well researched because they're like getting paid to do this.
Yes.
But it's very interesting.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
So
you need to listen to their.
I will. So, but this is my thing because there was a couple of people that have done podcasts on it, but I have a hard time listening to the podcasts and then writing it because I feel like I write it in the way that the podcast people were telling me and not
in your own words.
Wikipedia. What Wikipedia is saying, I guess. Yeah, not in my own words.
Right.
So, so I guess my sources are Wikipedia, then a website called Investigation Discovery, and then morbidology.com. So that's actually kind of a cool website.
Cool.
But so there was a lot, and some of the things, like I'm probably missing some things because there was a lot, and it was very detailed and disgusting. Yeah. And obviously, as everyone knows, we work full time, so I got like the bare minimum.
Feel ya.
Not the bare minimum. I mean, it's quite a few pages, but okay. Well, now I feel bad because you already know it.
Oh, don't feel bad.
Okay. Well, that's all right. Anyway, you have to listen because
we
have to record it anyway.
I'd actually never heard of them before last podcast did it, so all I know about them is what
they said. Which is probably pretty accurate.
Marcus Parks is like the best researcher ever.
Yeah. So. He is great. And I feel like I could be a great researcher,
kill you.
But I just don't have time.
Yeah. Same.
You know, it's whatever. Okay. So the Anthill Kids is a cult from, I guess it was founded in Burnt River, Ontario, Canada, during the years 1977 to 1989. So the cult was led by a man named, you might be able to say it better than I could. I don't really know. Rosh Thuriel.
They call on the last podcast, they pronounce it Rock Thoreau.
Thoreau? Okay, that's how I was saying it in, like, I didn't know the rock part, but Rock Thoreau. Yeah. That's how we're going to call him because last podcast called him that.
I just assume they're right about everything.
So Thoreau believed himself to be a prophet named Moira. I keep wanting to say Moira from Schitt's Creek, but it's not. What did they say on last podcast?
I don't remember this.
It's like Moire.
Moira? I think that's not.
But it's not Moira.
Moira?
But it's like Moira. Yeah, it's something like that. So he led a doomsday cult, basically.
Yeah.
So, and while initially it started as what people thought was like a free thinking commune, you know, as all good.
Yep. All good cults start. Yep.
It turned out to be much, much worse. So Rock was born in 1947 in Quebec. I think they speak, where's the one where they speak French?
That's Quebec.
Quebec? Okay.
Yeah.
And Montreal, probably. I'm sure
I think, but isn't Montreal a city in Quebec?
Okay. Quebec is the state.
Like the province.
Or the province.
Yeah. I believe so.
I think that's right. So I'm neither. That's where we should go. It's Canada. All right. So
like to live maybe, but it's not to vacation.
I would vacation in
Really?
Canada. Yeah.
It seems like
Banff National Park, Vancouver, Toronto, Quebec, Montreal. Yeah, I'd go to friggin' Canada.
I guess I don't know enough about Canada to know if I'd really want to like.
A lot of my HGTV people start out in Canada. Or they're in Canada. You know. Anyway. So, Rock, as we're going to call him then, grew up in Thetford Mines, Quebec. He was raised Catholic, and he was known as a very intelligent child. And then, which I find fascinating, is at the age of 7th grade, or around 13, he just like dropped out of school. And then he became fascinated with the Old Testament of the Bible and became like obsessed that the world was going to end and that there's this war between good and evil. And then he converted to Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Yeah.
And started going with their like holistic beliefs and with free from drugs, free from sin, unhealthy things, all that kind of stuff.
Basically my life.
Yeah, basically. As we didn't do a crack that claw because Emily's drinking some peanut butter beer.
Yeah.
And I have a Doom pedal.
Yeah.
50 West. Sponsor us, 50
Yeah,
West.
50 West. We need some of that.
I do like this one though.
I like Doom pedal.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
So basically he, at the age of like 13, was just like, peace, dropping out of school, studying the Old Testament. That's it. Going like free from sin. So he claims that his father was physically abusive. Did they say that in the last podcast?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. But the father and the family are like, no, he wasn't.
I feel like you gotta fuck your kid up somehow for him to be 13 and...
Fuck yes.
Like...
And honestly, and I think, because I've had a lot of kids like come up to me with claims of things and, you know, whatever. Yeah. And sometimes I think you want to believe that they're lying because you don't want to believe that people can hurt children.
Right.
But most often than not, if it's a kid claiming that, it's usually the truth.
Most of the time kids don't.
I think it's the truth. Yeah. Why would you, unless you have some sort of like. Right.
Especially when they're like.
A child.
Yeah.
But I think he's claiming as an adult that his father was abusive.
As a child.
Yeah. And so, but either way, he was still studying the Old Testament, you know, like a normal teenager does. Right. And he really loved the idea of that masculine authority from the Old Testament, which, true story, guys, I don't know if I've read the Old Testament.
Yeah,
unless we went over it in religion class.
You probably did. You probably read like parts of it.
I don't know. What I remember from religion class is getting yelled at because I drew in a book. I drew evil eyes and a little baby in the religion book.
Why did you draw?
Because I was bored. I sat in the back of the class. I am not a back of the class person because I can't focus. I have to be in the front or at least the front 3 seats. Otherwise, I will not focus.
The Old Testament is like Adam and Eve, Moses, Abraham,
the wrath of God, and like hardcore shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was eating that up.
Loved it.
He loved it.
Yeah, God was a dick in the Old Testament.
Love it. He's loving that journey for him. He loves that journey for him. So then he over time becomes involved with the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and I think the articles were like he either tried to become a leader in the church or was a leader in the church, but then something happened and he got kicked out of the church. So clearly he's got some issues. Yeah. Did they say in last podcast?
They did. The thing about last podcast is that it's hard for me to remember because like they break it up into like it was like 4 parts.
Oh wow, mine's not gonna be a 4-parter.
And then they took a break over Christmas. Like they did like an old episode over Christmas. So I don't remember, but I do remember there was one thing where he was like really involved in like a group to stop people from smoking. Like so.
Yeah, I could see him being. Just from what, like, I've read, I could see him trying to take over a role.
And I think
that's something like that. And then he got out of hand or, like, started to push his way too much. If I'm remembering
correctly, like, he had started this, like, group to, like, help people quit smoking. And he, like, really, like, hijacked it.
Yeah, and he, like, takes it. I could definitely see him doing that.
I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Don't quote me on that. But
we're going to quote you on it.
I think that's what.
Don't quote me on anything that I'm reading right now. This is more entertainment value. Hopefully you guys are... if my friend Dana, shout out to Dana, she's working at the gym. That's when she listens to the pod. And then she'll text me and say, I heard my shout out. So shout out, people. So yeah, he got kicked out. Yeah. So, but still, even though he was kicked out, he'd still managed to have a few people that followed him and like believed in him or liked him.
They like followed him.
Yeah.
As he, like,
because
split.
apparently he's like charismatic.
They all are.
They all are.
If I meet a charismatic man, I just assume you're a psychopath. Get out of my way.
I know. This is probably our problem. Why we're both still single is any person that seems like any semblance of nice, you're like, oh, they're probably a serial killer.
You have an ulterior motive.
You clearly are messed up.
Yeah.
When really it's probably we're the ones that are messed up. Anyway, so he like still managed to convince himself and others that he was like the savior of the people.
Yeah.
Because he still believed in this doomsday theory. The world was going to come to the end and whatever.
Right.
So he was like, I can save you all. You know, and so like most egotistical fanatics that are obsessed with God and themselves, they decide to create a community where people would listen to him as the word of God, you know, and believe him and but label it as like a free thinking commune, you know.
Free thinking.
You know.
Yeah.
So in the mid-70s, he'd had a number of followers from the church, from the Seventh-day Adventist Church, which every time I wrote that, I kept thinking the Seventh-day Adventist was the same thing as the Latter-day Saints, but they're not, apparently. I didn't research enough about what Seventh-day Adventists believe, but...
I don't know much about them other than they have, like, really weird rules about, like I think they're vegetarians, and they don't, like, do any substances, no caffeine, nicotine, anything like that, and they live to be super old.
Probably because they're very healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. So if you think about it, if they're like cutting out all of these
boring,
things.
Though.
I mean, obviously, that's very boring. Well, I don't smoke, but they don't drink.
They
obviously,
don't,
I
they
do
don't
drink
caffeine. Neither do Mormons.
I mean, that's probably good for them. I'm giving up Diet Coke. I'm trying to only have one Diet Coke a week.
Wow.
And I'm doing okay.
What about coffee?
Oh, I've had coffee every morning.
Yeah.
I can't go cold turkey.
I am completely addicted to caffeine.
Oh, yeah.
Completely.
For sure.
Like,
yes.
I have no vision at any point in my life where I will not be drinking caffeine.
Really?
Yeah. I don't really drink that many Cokes.
Coke. You don't drink.
Like, I drink...
Drink is Emily's code for snort.
No. I drink coffee, though. Like, I pound coffee like it's my job.
Really?
Yeah, like, I have a cup. I make a travel size mug to go to work, and then when I get to work, sometimes I'll make another cup, and then sometimes I'll walk to Starbucks.
See, I usually, if I have a coffee, I will normally not finish it.
Oh, I'm...
Like, I have the travel mug, like, every morning, and I take it, and I usually don't finish it. Sometimes I'll finish, like, a Starbucks or Dunkin' if I get a small. But I don't, because I mix with water, so I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Neither one of us would be in this church.
No, we wouldn't.
So, if you are in this church, great, power to you. Don't join this guy's cult.
Yes.
Fine. Good. All right. So he convinced what followers that he did have to leave their homes, jobs, and families behind to go on this free thinking commune religious movement type thing. So he convinced them that the world around them was corrupt. So they needed to cut everybody off and live a life free of sin before the world ended. Right. So and I wrote this. This is me maybe putting words into their mouth, but like obviously I think they believed in God, but they accepted him as their like
prophet.
Savior, the prophet. Yeah. And they chose to live by his interpretation of the Bible and what happened. You know, I mean, it was a religious movement, whatever.
Yeah.
So Rock, whatever his name is, he, believed that it was the end of the world, and he believed that he was so in tune with God and whatever that he said the world would end February of 1979.
Yay!
So he used the commune to prepare for the end of the world. Whatever. So they moved the commune or community, whatever they want to be called, I don't know.
Yeah.
Which at this point was 4 men, 9 women, and 4 children, to a place called Eternal Mountain near the village of Saint Jacques. Jogue. Joug. Anyway, that's the only time it's mentioned, so we're not going to worry about how to pronounce it. So he sent his followers, they made this, claim this area, built cabins and tents. And so he saw them working and building all of these things. And when he saw that, he compared them to ants working together, And so that's why he dubbed his followers the Anthill Kids. So.
Gross.
Like, if you're gonna pick a cult name that's
Anthill.
supposed to, like, define this world, that's what you pick?
It sounds fun. Like Anthill Kids.
Yeah, it sounds like the Garbage Pail Kids.
Yeah,
or, like, the Cabbage
does.
Patch Kids. Yeah. The Anthill Kids. So, February 1979 came and went. And guess what, Emily?
The world didn't end.
The world didn't end. So then when some of his followers began to question him, he was explaining the confusion. So on one article, it said that he claimed that there was a confusion between the Israeli calendar and the Roman Catholic calendar. Then in another article, it said that he claimed that he mistakenly used human time to measure God's time. You know, that classic mistake that we all make.
He probably used both of those excuses.
Yeah, he probably did.
Yeah.
Like, and somebody's like, he just told different people.
Mm-hmm.
And he still assured them that he was the prophet and yada, 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 because he was super charismatic, so people believed him.
Right.
Which reminds me of Parks and Rec when they have that cult that's like the end of the world.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, we got it wrong. It's next day. And then she's like, oh, well, it's booked for an ice cream social. Oh, then wait. Oh, I'm sorry. It's the day before that. Anyway, so that was worked out or whatever. They were still fine.
Yeah.
In the meantime, he wants to keep growing his followers and maintain control over people. So he would marry every woman that ended up in the cult and impregnate them. So he ended up marrying 9 women and fathering over 20 children.
Damn.
Yeah. That's just in the time of the cult. Sorry, guys. I have a phone call from spam. Anyway, so the members also had to wear identical tunics to, quote, represent equality and devotion to the commune.
That would piss me off.
To wear a matching tunic or to wear a tunic?
Just both. Just being told that
I'm okay with like a tunic occasionally if I can like wear it with leggings or something, but I don't like matching people.
Well, I don't like being told what to wear. This is why I would not be a good nun or a good military member.
I think there's many reasons you would not be a good nun or military member, and none of them have to do with you being told what to wear.
You can't like express yourself like through your clothes.
Yeah,
which is something I like to do.
Yeah, you were very big on expressing your personality through clothes.
Yes.
And specifically jewelry.
Yes, especially my Carmela Soprano hoops, which I'm not wearing right now.
Yes, your mob wife hoops. But yeah, there's many of reasons you would not be a good nun and or military member. Yeah, maybe a lot of it is being told to do. If like a soldier or like a sergeant was like, do that, and you'd be like, fuck you.
Yeah, and they have to make their beds every day? Absolutely not.
Yeah. True. They probably, they have to do lots of things. You'd always have to wear your hair in like a low, okay, my hair's in a low pony, but mainly just because it's getting long, so it's hard to work out with my hair up.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I feel you.
Anyway, short, whatever. Emily's not a nun or in the military.
No.
Never has been. Never will be.
But Rock made his homies wear matching tunics.
Yes. Okay. So now, if the cult isn't creepy enough, this is when things start to get really weird. So, well, kind of there's a little bit. Anyway, guys, I should warn you, I'm going to keep going. Some of this gets really violent, really just awful. Graphic. That's the word I'm thinking of. Yeah. Just very graphic.
Okay.
And this guy is fucked up in the head. Like, he must have been abused because there's some shit that this guy's got.
Definitely.
Anyway, so so while, they're living a life free from sin and temptation, right? No one's allowed to eat meat. They can't have tobacco, alcohol, very pure. He was getting drunk every day.
Hell yeah.
And when he's drunk, apparently he is mean.
Yes.
Right. Some of us are mean. Some of us are loud. Some of us cry. Some of us do all of those things.
Some of us order true crime channels on Amazon.
That's someone being Emily. And there we go.
Yeah. Okay. So
I do more damage hungover than with purchasing. Yeah. Anyway.
So he's an asshole when he's
he's the fucking worst. He's the worst. He's the worst. Anyway, but he starts to take over their lives completely. And because there's that C word again, charismatic. You thought I was going to say something else.
I did.
Yeah.
I was like, where are we going?
He was able to convince people that he was still the prophet. Like, people still followed him because he's so charismatic.
Yeah.
And probably fear. Because he was nuts. So the members were not allowed to speak to each other if Rock was not present.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They were not allowed to have sex with each other without his permission. And if he felt that a member was straying, he would spy on them, then call them out on it, and then say that God had told him. So he'd like go super stealthy and be like, oh, I know you're doing this and this. God told me. And then people would be like, shit.
What a
God is like in his ear.
Yeah.
God. Guys, here's the thing. If you were in a cult right now, somehow listening to this podcast, God, I don't know a lot about God, but he is not the type of person that's going to put you, like, he does not want this guy to be your leader. I'm just going to say that.
Right.
Right? Can we agree with that? This guy's fucked up. And you're about to see the fucked upness.
Yeah.
All right. So when a member would want to leave the commune, he would punish them with torture. So, yeah, he would start by beating some of them with belts and a hammer before he would escalate, and then he would maybe suspend some people from the ceiling and then go one by one, pluck out each of their body hairs. Yeah. So that's like that was from Investigation Discovery, that quote was.
Yeah.
So also the commune supported themselves by selling baked goods, which I just find hilarious.
Good old-fashioned bake sale.
Bake sale. But when the members would come home and they didn't have as much money as Rock wanted them to earn, he would punish them as well. So that, like, he would punish them if they didn't have enough money, if they did something wrong, if he thought they were leaving, all sorts of things.
And, like, the rules are, like, totally, like, subjective to him.
Yes. So you don't know, like, you could think you're going to work at a yard sale or bake sale, whatever it was, and come home and then him just be like on a drunken rage and be like,
up a rule,
hang you from a ceiling and whip you or whatever.
Fuck that.
Yeah. So over time, he became increasingly more violent. He would have members, this is so fucked up, break their own legs with sledgehammers, shoot each other in the shoulder or something like that. Eat mice and feces.
Hell yeah.
And it would not be uncommon if he asked a member to cut off another member's toe to prove their loyalty.
Poor toes.
Yeah. And the abuse, this is what makes me want to vomit, but the abuse was not limited to just adults. Children were also sexually abused. They would be hung on trees where like other kids could throw stones and rocks at them.
That's terrible.
It's literally, I mean, it's so horrible.
Yeah, especially kids who are like born into it or like brought into it.
That all of them would be. Like, it's not like, I don't think any of them would choose that.
Right.
So this is a whole category I have is just other horrible things he did.
Okay.
So this one was up for debate if it was him or his wife because like 3 different articles said 3 different things. But so allegedly he had left a new baby outside to die in freezing temperatures. But then another story said that it was actually one of his wives that left a newborn child outside to keep her away from the abuse. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think if you were going to kill your child though, like if you didn't want your child to go through that abuse, you would like suffocate it.
Yeah.
Or just something
a little less painful.
Like, because
Like
you know that
drawn
child
out.
would be screaming and crying all through the night. Yeah. So I feel like it was probably him because I think he's a douche. So he believed in purifying people through physical abuse. And he would have these like purification sessions where the followers would be stripped naked and beaten to be purified, which is so fucked up. Fucked up is like the key phrase of this guy because he's so messed up. He then started to feel like he was really holy and would perform surgeries on his members to show that he really did have the power to heal. Like very unnecessary amateur surgeries on people to prove that he could heal others, to keep followers. Yeah. So this is a quote because I didn't really know how else to like say it, but so these surgeries included injecting a 94% ethanol solution into stomachs or performing circumcisions on the children and adults of the group. Yeah. He would just like perform them.
Yeah, with no medical background.
I guess he looked at, I was about to be like, he didn't even have YouTube.
Yeah.
He probably just read a book.
Yeah.
Or just started slicing to see what happened.
Yeah.
So at some point, and I might have missed why they were removed, but in 1987, social workers came and removed 17 of the children from the commune.
Yeah.
Finally, because that's this whole time I'm like, how are people not like, but I guess if you don't talk to anybody, I'm sure they're not in school.
Right.
So, oh my gosh, what if some of my kiddos are in communes and I don't even know?
It might be.
Kiddos, if you're listening and you're in a commune, come to my office and let me know. But yeah, this is what was confused. He had no repercussions for any of that.
Yeah.
Like, or any of the abuse. They just took the kids out. Mm-hmm. Which doesn't really surprise me because social services is banana sometimes in courts, like what they accept.
Right.
So one of these surgeries that he performed was in 1981, he sliced open the penis of 2-year-old Samuel after he was having difficulty going to the restroom. Yeah. And then when the child wouldn't stop crying, because he just had his penis sliced open, Rock ordered one of the followers named Guy Vier.
Guy Fieri?
Yeah, Guy. No, we're not making that claim. Emily, we're not making that claim that Guy Fieri was in the skull.
Guy Fieri's an angel.
No, Guy Vier. Vier.
Yes.
So he was ordered to beat this 2-year-old to beat him, but then this 2-year-old died from the injuries of the beating because he's,
a baby.
2. He's a little precious baby angel. So then Rock wanted to hide the death. So he had the commune and whoever him, I guess, set the body on fire to hide his death.
Yeah.
And then this is quote, like, as punishment, Rock or Thoreau castrated Veer and ordered his followers to say that Veer had been trampled by a horse. So if anybody asked or anything like that, they had to say he was trampled by a horse.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're asking this. Like, I guess, do cult people go out in public?
So, and again, it's foggy for 2 reasons. Because they did it, last podcast did it over like 4 weeks.
Right.
And also because I'm usually like cleaning or like...
Yeah, doing
so
other
I don't
stuff.
always pay 100% attention. But I think there was like neighbors near the commune.
I mean, there would have had to have been.
That like would like
saw things and asked questions. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Because I didn't really see that in any of the articles. And again, I didn't really investigate that much.
Yeah.
Like into all of those little details, whatever. So I guess this must have been the neighbors. Somehow the truth came out about shit that was happening. The police came, raided the commune, found the body of Samuel. So Rock and 8 others were arrested and charged with criminal negligence causing bodily harm. And then it said, quote, they were all subsequently released. So, I mean, they might have had some time that they served.
I think, and again, I'm not sure, but I want to say he spent like a year or maybe 2 years.
Yeah. So I'm sure he did some time, but then
he was released.
Yeah. Because I'm sure he, like, it's all sort of fucked up. Either way, he got out.
Yeah. He wasn't in jail for very long.
Somehow, killing and burning a 2-year-old child is not enough to stay in jail for forever.
That's fucking insane.
But there's 2 things that, like, finally kind of, not really did him in. There's one that did him in. So this is the prelude to that.
Okay.
So in 1989, when follower Solange Bouillard, every time I read this, I picture Solange Knowles, though, Beyonce's sister. So she would complain of, like, stomach issues or whatever. Yeah. He performed yet another surgery without anesthesia. Ugh. So this is quote, guys, because there was no other way I could have, I don't know how else I would have said it. He laid her naked on a table, punched her in the stomach, then forced a plastic tube into her rectum to perform a crude enema with molasses and olive oil.
Oh my God.
He cut open her abdomen with a knife and ripped off part of her intestines with his bare hands. How fucking disgusting is that?
No, thank you.
And it's not even done. So then he had another member, Gabrielle Lavelli, some French name.
Yeah.
He had Gabrielle stitch her up using a needle and thread, and the other woman shove a tube down her throat and blow through it.
Ew.
Yeah. So then the next day, shockingly, Solange died from the damage inflicted by the procedures.
Right.
Because this is psychotic.
Yeah.
Then Rock claimed that he had the power to resurrect people, from the dead because he thinks that he's like Jesus or God or whoever resurrected people. God resurrected Jesus, right? From the cave, the burial, whatever. Anyway.
Yeah.
So he put a hole into her skull with a drill and then had the other male members of the commune, along with himself, ejaculate into the hole.
What?
So, yeah. When Solange Boillard did not, come back to life.
With everybody's jizz in her head.
Yeah. Her corpse was buried a short distance from the commune.
I have so many questions.
I have questions. I can't even answer these questions for you because it's literally so disturbing.
This is a question that...
To pose to the world?
To pose, I guess, just in general. How do they get aroused, like these poor male members, to jizz in this woman's head?
I don't know. That's a question for men. Men, if you're out there, please... can you slide into Emily's dark file DMs and tell her how you can ejaculate?
I just can't imagine being so I can't imagine they enjoyed that.
Well, okay, but they're in a commune.
Yeah.
So their whole mind is that this guy is
they
Jesus.
Believe that if they do this, it's gonna bring her back.
Yeah.
Oh, I just can't.
And I mean, I bet there were women there. Maybe they looked at magazines or something. I don't know. Then you think this is a horrible question. Do they make it all into the hole? Or are they just
I don't know. If they didn't, did they have to go again?
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
I'm just confused by the ritual of it. Why is that you would think, but these are not logical people.
Right.
How is drilling a hole in somebody's head going to bring them back to life? What, are they going to wake up like fucking Frankenstein?
Right. Maybe.
No.
Yeah.
No. Anyway, people, this is disturbing.
Yeah, this is disturbing.
Cults are crazy.
They are crazy.
Mark that down that I said that. In case. Cults are crazy, people. Okay, so here we go. Keeps going. The abuse and torture and all the shit keeps happening.
Mm-hmm.
So Gabrielle Lavelle, La Valley, something. Gabby. Gabsters. She was the woman who had to stitch up Solange, when she went through the surgery. I'm not even going to call it surgery, the torture. So she also went through a lot of abuse at the commune.
Was she one of his wives?
I don't know. I'm going to guess they were all his wives.
Yeah,
or not all of them, but
most of them.
I'm sure he raped all, if not all of them.
Yeah.
So she had... makes me want to vomit. Torch burns to her genitals.
Oh, God.
Like a welding torch.
Yeah.
A hypodermic needle break off in her back. And 8 of her teeth removed.
Oh, my God.
So he also cut off parts of her breast, smashed her head in the blunt side of an axe.
Jesus God.
And then she managed to escape, or attempted to escape after that. But then when he found her again, he removed one of her fingers with wire cutters.
Oh my God.
Pinned her head to a wooden table with a hunting knife, and then used a chainsaw to amputate her entire arm. Yet, despite this, Gabrielle was able to eventually flee and call the police. This chick is amazing.
She's a real one.
Minus the fact that she joined a cult. I mean, we won't hold that against her.
Sure.
She, not only did she go through probably regular, abuse, was raped by him, had to sew what I'm assuming is a friend, maybe lover.
Yeah.
I don't know how it worked down there. Sew her back together.
Yeah.
Her bestie, I'm assuming. And then she was literally so horribly tortured. So horribly tortured, and yet she managed to contact the police. So, finally, guys, I know you've been waiting because I've been waiting. And the police, who had been suspicious about Rock for a long time, but because technically they were considered a church, they were not able to like investigate the adults.
Yeah.
So the most the police could do was just keep like checking on the children or like take the children out, things like that. Because they couldn't do anything about the adults, I guess.
Because they were consenting to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the kids were not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the cops became involved. The commune, broke up. They left. They didn't follow him anymore. He still had a few straggler followers, but a lot of people got out of there. So they were able to investigate the commune and Rock further, and like specifically the murder of Solange, because Gabrielle could attest probably to all of that. And I'm sure people like confessed. I'm just assuming that people did. So he was found guilty of assault and received 12 years of jail for the amputation of Gabrielle's arm. Which is still more than burning a child.
Yeah, that's very weird.
And not that, obviously, if you amputate somebody's arm, that should be longer than 12 years in jail.
I agree. Yeah.
Especially after all of the abuse led up to... Anyway, I don't understand it. So meanwhile, the guy's in jail. Yet while he's still in jail... He had women, some of his people, come in for conjugal visits, and he managed to father 4 children.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It's friggin' bananas. So, then eventually in 1993, he did plead guilty to second-degree murder for the death of Solange Bollard. And he was sentenced to life imprisonment and was denied parole.
Yeah.
He denied parole in like 2002, and then he never applied again. But meanwhile, in 2009, he pops up again in the headlines because he's trying to sell his artwork on a website called murderauction.com, which called itself a, quote, true crime auction house.
Yeah.
So they were willing to sell some of his drawings and poetry and stuff. But then other people were like, he can't profit while he's in prison. But like, this dude is the fucking worst.
Yeah. John Wayne Gacy shit's on there.
Like, he draws things?
Yeah.
Why would anybody buy that? Why would you enable that?
People buy it. But yeah, they can't take any money, so they have to donate it to like sometimes it'll go to like the victims' families or like a nonprofit.
Okay, but I understand like that as a donation thing, like going
but like
to
why would somebody
why would you want John Gacy's drawing?
I don't know. I wouldn't.
Is he even a good artist?
He's decent.
Well, but still, I mean, if I didn't know, no, I still wouldn't. I don't know. Would you buy one? I won't judge you, but I will a little.
I don't think I would buy one if one was given to me.
I'm not buying you one.
I'm not asking you to.
Okay, just saying.
But like, I don't know. I have problems. But like, I wouldn't want him to like, because I think it feeds into their narcissism.
Yeah.
That like people are buying these. So like I get that, but like I would be a little morbidly curious to like have one or see one. Yeah, I would.
I mean, I get it's like a curiosity.
Yeah.
Like this person who managed to commit so many atrocities.
Yeah.
Yet he's drawing like Bob Ross's landscapes, I'm assuming.
I don't. Yeah. So yeah.
We should investigate it, guys.
But
FYI, if anyone's ever gonna buy me a gift, I don't fucking want one.
Well, I have a T-shirt.
Buy me a picture of Dolly Parton.
I have a shirt that I got at Horror Hound that is Burn Bundy Burn. Have you seen those?
No.
So when Bundy was being executed, they like made these stickers and shit that said Burn Bundy Burn and like distributed them while everybody like sat outside the jail and like cheered for him.
Yeah.
I have a shirt that has that on it.
I feel torn because on one hand I'm like, yeah, he's a serial killer.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think part of me feels like guilty that you would, like, I wouldn't want anything that would like get people to buy into. But obviously we're having a true crime podcast.
Well, that motherfucker deserved to die.
Oh, that motherfucker deserves to die multiple times.
No,
this guy deserves to die.
But then, so the guy he like sells like true crime like merch. Like my sister bought a shirt that has Eileen Warnes on it, and it's like her as a.
She's an interesting.
It's like
story.
A saint.
Okay, I don't
like you know that Dolly candle I got you. It's like that same like.
Okay, but here's the difference though, guys. Let's take a break. I almost finished with this, but we're going to take a break.
Okay.
because Dolly is a wonderful human being who like does so many good things for the world. Eileen Wuornos killed people.
I know.
So that one I can't get on board with.
Yeah.
And I get it, it's like a morbid curiosity thing, but I'm like...
And he also had...
I can't get that. I can't get behind that one.
Like a t-shirt, sweatshirt design that was like a Kool-Aid packet, and it said like Jim Jones. Like,
that's kind of funny. See, I mean, I get it to an extent, but I don't know. The whole saint one, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
that's all Lauren Teagarden there for you.
I would be open to hearing somebody's like reasoning behind it.
I mean, the guy was like super cool. He was like an artist, and he like sold this like true crime merch. And he like, I can't remember, he was gonna go visit like one serial killer in jail and was like making like an art thing, like an art display that was gonna be on display in like a museum in New York. So I don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot of like interesting like moral discussion.
I think it's interesting, and I think if somebody wants to put that in their house, cool.
Yeah.
Fine. Don't buy me one.
Yeah.
Because
and I think we like, and I can be guilty of this because I'm so fascinated with serial killers and true crime, but like you often forget about the victim.
Right.
Victims. And I think that's important to remember is like when you do shit like that, like buy Gacy painting, what about
you're like, immortalizing him and not his victim.
Right. Because most people don't like, could you tell me any of Dom and Gacy's victims? Like I couldn't.
No. Because you know him.
Yeah. So
but could you tell me some things that Dolly Parton does that deserves a saint picture? Yeah.
Sure.
Anyway,
okay, she developed my COVID vaccine.
Yeah, Moderna. But I don't think she gave money for it. But yeah,
she's in the lab.
I want to get the Moderna vaccine.
That's the one I got.
Mainly because that's Dolly Parton's vaccine. But I'll take whatever vaccine they give me. I want to be vaccinated. Okay, so anyway, guys, after all of this, on February 26, 2011, 63-year-old Rock Thoreau, if that's how the last podcast guys are saying it, yes. I'll take their word for it,
sure,
was found dead at a cell in the Dorchester Penitentiary.
Yay!
So he died, is believed to have died from a fight with his cellmate, Matthew McDonald, who was a convicted murderer. And so he was charged with the killing, pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, and was sentenced to life in prison. But he was already serving a life sentence for a previous murder charge. So he had actually stabbed him in the neck with the shiv. Is it shiv or shot? Shiv.
It's shiv.
But it's chive is the food.
That is
CHIV.
That is the little green thing we put on baked potatoes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shiv and... Okay. This is the quote from Wikipedia. I just read this. Okay. McDonald had stabbed Thoreau in the neck with the shiv, walked to the guard station, handed them the weapon, and proclaimed, quote, "That piece of shit is down on the range. Here's the knife. I've sliced him up." And
yeah, brother. So can I just say, I appreciate a criminal serving a life sentence taking out the other pieces of shit in there.
Yeah.
Big fan. Kill the child molesters. Kill them all. Okay, I don't really mean that. But,
okay, yeah, we don't want to go on.
But like, it's economical. Like, you're going to be in there anyways. Might as well rack up another life sentence.
I mean, yeah, it's not like you're getting out with parole,
right?
And honestly,
good
the
for
other
him.
Like, that makes me wonder though. What, like, this guy, not the murderer. I don't know what the murderer. I mean, he was there for murder.
Yeah,
whatever.
Sure.
But Matthew McDonald. But like Rock Thoreau. Imagine what a piece of shit.
You have to
another murderer thinks that you are.
Well, that's like in prisons, like people who kill children and child molesters are like, that's like not okay with them. Like even like the grisliest of murderers are not cool with that.
Right. But yet rapists are in there. Why don't they beat the rapist? That's not cool. I mean, obviously I'm not going to compare what's worse. They're all fucking awful. But, yeah, so now that I'm reading this again, I want to look up this Matthew McDonald and see, like, what he was in jail for. I mean, obviously he went, and he's just like, no, he's gone. Like, he must have just tried his self-righteous piece of shit stuff.
Yeah, but he was probably the worst cellmate.
Oh, my God. And he's probably like, I'm just over you. Like, I wonder if he would brag about the torture that he would do, and he's like, and then we jizzed into a hole in her skull.
I'd be like, oh
And
God,
that
I
guy's
can't
probably
fucking
like,
stand
I
this
fucking
dude.
can't handle you right
It's
now.
like when your cubicle mate like won't stop talking about like their kid or their dog, and you're just like,
I
shut
just
the
think the word
fuck up.
cubicle is really funny. Yeah, he probably did. He's like, I'm done. Move me to wherever you want to move me. I don't care. I'm out. This
Yeah.
guy's the worst. But yeah, so I know you already listened.
Yes.
But that is the story, guys, of the Anthill Kids cult.
Nice job.
Thanks. I wasn't as well researched as the last podcast.
That's okay.
But that's their full-time job.
That is they have a whole podcast network. They're like entrepreneurs.
They are.
Guys, if you ever should be listening to this, we want to join your network.
Yeah, last podcast, people. Maybe we won't plagiarize off of
Yeah,
you.
maybe we won't. It was funny because I did my episode on John Bonet, and then that week, last podcast released their like best of Christmas edition, and they included it like part of their John Bonet
We are
episode.
always on the same page as them.
And like I got so much shit like not totally accurate. I'm like, they're so good.
But they also have probably a whole research team.
They have like interns, like assistants and stuff
Yeah.
to help them. But
We have ourselves.
Marcus Parks is for real like the best. He's
I
so
believe
good
it.
at researching. He does another podcast called No Dogs in Space, which is about music, and they'll do deep dives on bands. It's
That's pretty cool.
fascinating.
I would, and this is where I also get into, I could research it. Let me rephrase this. I could research it all
Uh-huh.
day. It's the researching it and then putting it into a story that's like coherent.
Yeah,
That's not super
hard.
plagiarizing. That's the part that gets hard. I'm like, I could deep dive on this all day if I didn't have to like
Yeah,
write a story, but I'm like, there's
Right.
only so much time in the day.
yeah, I feel you.
And I have a lot of Office that I need to watch. But anyway, so guys, that is the Anthill Kids cult. Super depressing and disgusting. And please don't join a cult. Or what is it that my favorite murder people say?
If you're in a cult, call
if
your
you're
dad.
in a cult, call your dad. Yeah, or mom,
Yeah.
whatever.
Parent.
Call a parent, call your school counselor. We'll get you out of the cult, whatever we need to do. But yeah. And that is it. Make sure you follow us on the Dark Files podcast on Instagram. And if you have any suggestions, email them to the darkfilespodcast@gmail.com. I need to check that email, but
Yeah.
I don't think I've gotten anything
Or hit us up
recently.
on the Insta.
Yeah, hit us up on the Insta when we comment something, because as much as there's like endless ideas to talk about, sometimes it's hard to like think of something that you
It
want to
is hard,
research.
yes.
So shoot them out. Let us know.
Yeah.
And that's it for today. Thanks for
That's
listening,
it.
all 30 of you that listen.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, wait, we have to do our case close.
Oh, yeah. Kasie, when it comes to the case of Rock Thoreau and the Anthill Kids, what do we say?
Well, for this, I'm going to take it to Matthew McDonald and say, that piece of shit is down on the range.
Thanks, Matthew
Here's the
McDonald.
knife. I've sliced him up. Case closed.